Buenos dias, clase. We're going to go over the AR verbs beginning from page 97 through 100, and this will be a lesson to prepare you for your homework. Now, over here, I've written your homework out for today, which is going to be page 102. You're only going to do the first 30, and then you're going to do your memory verse. I want to point out to you also that you do have a quiz on Wednesday, which is an oral quiz, and it's going to be where you're going to call me via Skype, and we're going to set up a time where you can just recite your words to me. You can do that anytime between now and Wednesday. The quiz has to be done by Wednesday, so if you don't call in by Wednesday, then it'll count like you didn't do it. So please make sure that you do get a hold of me. All right, going over the lesson. The last lesson we talked about what an infinitive is. And remember that an infinitive is a verb written with an ending of an AR, an ER, or an IR. For our purposes, we're only going to be studying AR verbs. I've written here your 9 subject pronouns that we've already talked about, and next to them I've written down the stem of the verb. Now, a stem of a verb is the same thing as you would refer to it as in English. So think about the word running. The stem of the root of the word running is run. The ing is the ending or the suffix. So we're going to call that in Spanish the stem, and this the personal ending. Okay. In Spanish, you'll notice that every subject has a different personal ending. Some of the subjects share personal endings, but today we're only going to talk about the one for yo, usted, tú, and nosotros. The next lesson, we'll talk about the rest of them. Okay. The first personal ending is for the subject yo, and the personal ending will end in an o. You're going to say yo presento, I present. The next one is usted presenta. Then you have tú presentas. Nosotros presentamos. Okay? So this means I present, you formal present, you informal presents, and we present. Now, notice that they all are different. Think of it this way. He sits, we sit. They sit. She sits. So depending on who the subject is, in English, some of the verbs have a different ending. The only difference is in Spanish, they are used with more frequency than they are in English. In this one, usted presenta, this is what we call the singular ending. The singular ending, because it is a singular subject. Usted is you, one person, it is singular, and the a, therefore, is always going to be singular. So when we begin to study these subject pronouns, the one él and ella are singular, he and she, so they will share a singular ending. For now, on page 101, you'll see that you can drop the personal ending. The reason that is the case is you cannot drop the personal ending for all of them. You can only drop them when they're not shared. This is shared with the other singular subjects, but o is only belonging with yo, as is only belonging with the subject tú, and amos is only belonging with nosotros. So it is common for you to hear people speaking in Spanish and they may not use the subject yo. Instead, they would say, presento la lección. I present the lesson. Presentamos la lección. We present the lesson. Presentas la lección. You present the lesson. It's very common to do that. Now, for purposes of this class, I ask that you always use the personal pronoun, especially when you're translating, just for clarity until we get more comfortable with it, and then we will be able to drop the personal pronoun. The other thing that I wanted to point out is, notice I said singular subject. So these are pronouns, but not all subjects are pronouns. You may have a subject that is not a pronoun. For example, you might say, the teacher presents the lesson. So if you're saying the teacher, since teacher is singular, you would say la profesora presenta la lección, or el profesor presenta la lección. If you're talking about more than one, then that's going to be plural, and we'll discuss that next time. Let's see. So we briefly talked about what an infinitive. It's any verb that ends in the to form of the word. So this is to present. Then we discussed the personal endings for yo, which is o, usted, which is a, tú, which is us, and nosotros, which is amos. The last thing I want to remind you is the difference between usted and tú. You would use usted when you're talking to someone that is older than you out of respect or someone you just met. For example, when you speak to about a teacher, you would say, usted presenta la lección. But when you're talking between each other, because you're peers, you can say, tú presentas la lección. So that is the difference. Okay, guys, so this again is going to be for your homework, page 102. Now, the way that I want you to do the homework is I want you to write the title. So if you look at homework, the first infinitive that you're given is hablar. So when you begin, you're going to start by writing the infinitive, underline the stem, and box the ending. Then for number 1, the silhouetted person is usted. So you would write the subject. Then you would write the stem. And then you would write the personal ending. Going over to your chart, you see the personal ending is A, so you would add the A. There is no need to underline here or box here. You're only going to do that in the heading. So for each section, number 1 through 10, number 21, 11 through 20, and 21 through 30, they would have their own heading, and then you would proceed to do the lesson the same way. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, as always, please let me know. Adios.